Sri K. Veeraswamy.
Honorable Speaker, sir. 14 line linga. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on the Consumer Protection Bill of 2019 brought by this government. Sir, we oppose the bill on certain aspects, sir. No doubt that the Consumer Protection Act, which was there earlier, is useful. We have to definitely take care of the consumers to make sure that they are not cheated of whatever their rights are. But here we are talking about a bill where we have made some fundamental changes in the already existing act. What is the need for those changes? If you go through the bill, we find that the need was only because of the time taken for the disputes to be addressed. There are instances where some cases have gone on for a very long time, sir. So to address this, if you are going to address only about the duration taken for a consumer to get justice, that is acceptable, sir. But here we have made some fundamental changes in the composition of the commission at the district level, state level and national level. The changes are, earlier the national level commission was to be appointed by the Supreme Court of India, the Chief Justice of the country, and the state level was by the High Court Justice, and the district court could have been by a person who is of not judiciary nature. But here in this bill, you have, like every other bill that this government has brought, you have made sure that these are people who are going to be nominated or appointed by the central government, and nobody has a right to question about the validity or their educational qualifications, because you have not specified what are the qualifications for these commissioners to be appointed. Sir, this is a very, very sad state of affairs, because you are taking the rights out of the judicial system and taking it again into the central government. You have already taken so many powers from so many bodies. Do you want to take it away from the consumer also? Should the consumer also suffer because of this government's, not federal, the feudal attitude of this government? This government has made sure that there is no opposition. Like Sashi Tharoorji on the other day, he said, even some amendments which are of a good nature, you are not treating the opposition parties as opposition parties, sir. You are treating them like enemy parties. What is the harm in accepting some fundamental changes in certain bills which is not going to be of any great concern, which is going to be for the good for the common man? So you have not considered all these factors when drafting this bill. And also, you are saying that the central government is going to be supreme. There is not going to be any autonomy where the state has a say in any of the matters, and you are trying to bring all powers to Delhi. You do not want powers to be vested with the states. And if you look at clause 2, section 6 and subsection 5, it says goods which are hazardous to life and safety when used. These are, if people sell these products, they will be taken to task. But sir, this government, not only this government, sir, all the governments across the world are very, very hypocritic when it comes to treating their civilians, because we are allowing people to sell cigarettes and alcohol, very well knowing that this causes a grave health hazard to the population at large. You have seen being a doctor, I have seen umpteen number of people who smoke, who end up with heart attacks, cancers, bladder diseases and lung-related diseases, COPD and all these things. We know all these things well. What do? We just put a sticker on the cigarette packet saying this is hazardous to health. It is like saying give poison and say this is, you will drink this and you will die, and you allow the public to drink that. This is what we are doing, and as a government. The government is never bothered about the civilian or the consumer. We are only bothered about the revenue that we can generate, even if it is at their health cost. So this is the kind of government that we are running, and I don't know whether we can make any changes in that, sir. Recently there was a newspaper article where in a hotel there was a person who bought 2 bananas for 450 rupees. Sir, that person is a celebrity. He just tweeted it, and suo moto, somebody has taken cognizance of this and they have addressed this issue. But think about the common man. If a common man does that, even our Pradhan Mantri is having eyes only for a celebrity, sir. He does not see the common man. When when an agriculturist from Tamil Nadu comes and strikes for 100 days, wanting to raise his concerns, he is not interested in meeting them at all. But at the same time, a celebrity comes, within half an hour they get an appointment and they get to see him and talk about whatever they want to talk. He is more of a person who looks at media attention rather than the health of the people and the concerns of the people, sir. Sir, the other thing which I want to point out in this bill, we are talking about consumer protection. For any consumer protection, I think there is something called as an ombudsman, sir. An ombudsman is a person who is appointed by a particular company, the respective companies, where you can raise grievances before coming to these commissions. You can talk to the company, find out what is wrong, and then you can address these issues. But most of the times, people are not aware of who the ombudsman is, how he can be contacted, and even if they have an ombudsman, it is through an email, and when you send a mail, there is no response to it. Or there is a very dubious reply where you will have no answer to your issues. So we are left with no choice but to go to a consumer court. But again, like my friend over here said, when you go to the consumer court, how many people are aware? I think most of the people over here, they themselves will not be aware. We are all educated members of parliament. We will not be aware of about how to address the grievance, how to go about getting a solution for our problems. So when this is the case, how do you expect a common man, an illiterate, to get justice when he is being cheated? The same way we are talking about MRPs, sir. MRPs, we say that these products should not be sold above that price. We are talking about instances where they are sold for probably 10 rupees above the price, or even in some buses where we are going by government buses or private buses, people claim that we don't have change. And if you look at the volumes, when thousands and lakhs of people are traveling, this amounts to a huge amount, sir. So these kind of issues, for 2 rupee, I will not want to take the pain and go and complain to somebody. There should be some kind of an email through which he can address the issue and action should be taken. See, sending an email alone is not enough, sir. If we send an email, there should be a proper response and action should be taken, and the person who has complained should be given a detailed reply about what action has been taken. And we're talking about unfair contract and restrictive trade practices. Sir, restrictive trade practices, we are talking about companies which are giving false promises and selling a product. We have to be happy that political parties do not fall in this ambit, sir. Because this 2014, the false promises made by this government of saying that we will pay 15 lakhs into every person's account and get 10 crore jobs for the people over here, and we'll bring back money from all over the world and bring it back into our country and make our country one of the richest nations, has not materialized, sir. The government, it is funny to note that the government which came to power with such false promises is taking action against companies which are not keeping their promises. Isn't it funny to see something like that happening, sir? And the other thing is medical professions. Sir, I want to talk about this because medical professions, we are all suffering because we know the number of crimes which are being committed against doctors, sir. And also, not only the crimes, frivolous cases are being filed against medical professionals because some lawyer instigates them saying, even if there is no case, I will run this case, and if we win, I'll take 70% of whatever is offered, and the remaining 30% or 10% goes to the patient, sir. Here, I would suggest that you try to bring a policy where any medical cases, first it should be sent to the concerned state medical commissions, and only if they say that there is some validity in having a case over here, these cases should be filed. Because umpteen number of cases are filed against doctors, they have to be given some respite because they cannot practice in peace if this policy is continued, sir. Sir, I would also like to say the insurance companies, especially in hospitals, being a doctor, I have seen, like, even I may have a claim for 5 lakhs also, sir. I may be eligible for 5 lakhs, but the insurance company says only 30,000 will be paid to you, and the remaining amount, whatever the hospital charges, you have to pay it on your own. These are all some issues which we are not able to raise at all. Patients are not able to raise in the public forum, sir. I hope that the government will be able to do something about this. Thank you very much, sir.
Mandal